You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file.
That doesn't sound too hard.
Boom! This is Making Tracks.
This is the way.
Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
I know these people. They are brutal. Does this look Jedi to you?
That's not how the Force works.
They'll never see it coming.
Count me in.
Lisa back.
You're listening to Making Tracks, and a very special episode as we sit down with the producers and two of the stars of the upcoming animated Disney Plus show, Maul Shadow Lord. Fantha Tracks were invited to be part of two roundtables. First off, our chat with Darth Maul actor Sam Witwer and Devon Izara actor Gideon Adlon, where I was joined by fellow sites Endor Express, Fangirls Going Rogue, Father and Son Galaxy, Full of Sith, Skytalkers, Skywalking Through Neverland, Jedi News, Ion Canon, and Fantha Tracks. First, David from Endor Express.
Sam and Gideon. My first question is for Sam. I wanted to ask you about your producing role in this and how creative you got to be or how involved you were in this whole process.
They were kind enough to offer me a seat at the table. Really what it came down to was they wanted to ensure that the character was authentic to how we've portrayed him over the past 15 or 16 years. And so I feel like my role is to hear what they want to do and say, okay, well, I think Maul would feel this way about it, or he would go about it in this particular way. But really what it is it feels like just a bunch of friends hanging out, spinning a Star Wars yarn. I mean, it's really a collaborative group, and everyone has such great ideas and so much energy. Brad Rao has tremendous vision for this. Matt Miknovitz has so much energy and so many twists and turns he built into the plot. Athena Portillo is a gunslinger of a producer. And we get to do this all for Dave Filoni, who created the show. So he has the overall vision, but we are lucky enough to execute on it. And it's been really, really fun. It really is like hanging out with your friends and making your own Star Wars. It's fun.
Next up, Trisha Barr from Fangirls Going Rogue.
Gideon, welcome to Star Wars. Can you tell us a little bit about learning that you're going to be working on a Star Wars project?
Of course. When I initially auditioned for it, I thought I was going in for a 1920s mafia New York TV show. I had no clue. And then I went in for the in-person callback, which was also kind of the chemistry read. And then I knew. And the weight of that hitting somebody is like, oh my goodness. Okay, this is Star Wars. And she is a Jedi. It's kind of anyone's dream, really, to be a part of this world, this galaxy. So it hit me pretty hard. But straight away I walked in, and the first person that greeted me with a very strong, comforting handshake was Sam. And ever since then, really just having him by my side, and the whole team, actually, it's very quickly become a family, which has also helped ease me into this whole thing and make me feel comfortable in the world, which can be a lot of pressure, but it's been really great.
Next, Keith and Kerwin from Father and Son Galaxy.
Hello, this is Keith and Kerwin at Father Son Galaxy.
Hi.
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 Hello. My question is for Mr. Witwer. There's an interview where you discussed a moment where you outgeeked Dave Filoni. How long have you been a Star Wars fan, and what sparked your passion for the saga?
Well, I think my generation, we were born with it. We had no choice but to be quoting those three movies when we were growing up. It's just built into your brain when you were born, when I was, or when Dave Filoni was. And I will tell you, I suppose it's a proud moment that I got him once, because he's gotten me many, many times where I was going to go off and do some wild thing. And he goes, now, Sam, you must remember that in Attack of the Clones, this happened. Oh, right. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. The guy, he was a Star Wars encyclopedia since before he was George's Padawan. And I do love that we are making a show here with Maul Shadow Lord, created by the one guy who knows Star Wars better than anyone, save George Lucas. So yeah, it's I'm a huge fan. I love this stuff. Star Wars is like my favorite thing, and yeah, I mean, I actually will send Dave Filoni pictures of Star Wars minis that I paint. This is real. This happens.
Sam, you've never shown that.
You don't want to see? If you want to see, I'll send them to you. Yeah, I've painted Ewoks. It has happened. I paint them to look like my dogs. So that's yeah. I love Star Wars so very much. I'm a fan first before anything.
Hello, this is Sam Witwer, and you are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Next up is Brian Young from Full of Sith.
Yeah, I'm a question for Gideon. Having been around these guys and these shows for a long time on this side of it, and the last answer really exemplified that. These guys know Star Wars in and out. I like asking questions about sort of the characters and Star Wars, and Devon's a really interesting character. And I'm curious, watching the episodes, Devon seems really torn about her master and a lot of the really compelling things that Maul has to say. And I'm really interested in your take on that and how you took on what Maul was saying to her and how you stepped into that sort of thing and how you brought that to life.
Right. Devon is young and she has, a few paths in front of her and she's figuring out what she wants to take. I think the reason that she listens to Maul so deeply, even though maybe she doesn't want to admit that she is because she sees a very extreme similarity between the two of them. They reflect each other in ways. Maybe Maul from his childhood, maybe he sees himself in Devon. Devon might see herself, her future self in him, who knows? But, she's trying to figure out her path. And it's difficult. And she's very young and she loves her master, Daki, and would do anything for him. And I think the journey that you'll see Devon take really shows her love and nobility and what she would do for her master, but also shows that she's really trying to figure out who she is. And that curiosity she has will go to extreme lengths. I hope I didn't give too much away. There we go. It's so scary trying to talk about it and not get in trouble.
Next, it's Caitlin from Skytalkers.
Hi, I'm Caitlin from Skytalkers. It's so great to talk with both of you today. My question is for Sam. You've performed Maul at many stages in his life and always brought a new shade and tonality to his voice each time. Was there anything different about your vocal performance for this period of Maul's life for you?
Hopefully it's a different performance every time, I think, because I think it's my job to kind of reinvent him. And we've done this before, right? When we did Maul to begin with, we started him as this very crazed creature, really, when he was on Lothal Minor. Then there was early Clone Wars, which, the young apprentice doing what he was trained to do, and yet doing it in a different way because, he trained so hard to kind of, train to be an Olympic athlete, and then he missed the Olympics. So then he started following through on his training, building up armies and such, building up the first version of the Shadow Collective. But that was all sort of him doing what he was programmed to do. When you get to late Clone Wars, he's starting to think for himself a little bit more. And he's also had the experience of losing his family, losing Savage Opress. And so there have been a lot of things that have starting to spark thoughts. And he's starting to realize and recognize that perhaps Sidious is the true source of his suffering. Then you jump over to Rebels, and he's an old man at the end of his rope, old master. So every time I think it is on us to bring a new version of that character to the audience, because otherwise what would be the point? You know, if you've already seen Maul, why would you need to see that version again? We already have that, right? So this version of Maul is a Maul who is reassessing everything about his life and is really rather confused and doesn't, as much as he loves to think of himself as the master, and he has a whole plan and a bigger plan and wheels within wheels. I don't think he totally knows where this is all going. I think he has a lot of questions. You know, like, for example, I mean, you know, he was trained to hate the Jedi Knights by Sidious. Well, if you look around and you see the empire now that Sidious was building, and you thought you knew what that would be, but now you're seeing the real empire. And it's grotesque and it's awful. Might you start questioning absolutely everything he said to you? And how far could you go with that questioning, considering his indoctrination was the first and only thing you knew through all of the formative years of your life? So Maul is trying his best to break out of that. You know, how he regards the Jedi Knights, for example, would be like, wow, you know, they were rather extraordinary if asleep at the wheel. So he weirdly is trying to look at everything through new eyes. He's trying to have a new respect for certain things, but this is all through the training and limited tools of someone who was raised by the most diabolical Sith Lord of all time.
For everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds, bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
Next up is Sarah from Skywalking Through Neverland.
Hi, this is Sarah from Skywalking Through Neverland, and I had a question for both of you. I want to talk about the recording sessions, and I wanted to know, like, what is your process for tapping into your characters' voices? Is it something physical or mental or both? Gideon, can we start with you?
Sure. I think it's always both. Physicality in a voiceover booth is very important in terms of, you know, performance. The way you move is going to affect the way your voice sounds. And Star Wars is very physical. You know, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of emotion, there's crying, there's screaming, and you got to move with it. So just having an environment that's so, like, we trust each other. Sam and I really trust each other. And like, it's, if you're not ready to let go and to really just dive into that, it could for somebody. But it's really become, you know, just a very important part of my work, having Sam there with me always to record. We bounce off each other very well, and it's been lovely.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to approach these scenes if I didn't have Gideon there. You just don't know. You wouldn't know what to do. I rely entirely on her because she's so surprising. She's such a surprising actor and so committed. So, yeah, it would be, my performance is entirely dependent on hers.
The next question went to James from Jedi News.
Thanks very much. Thanks both Sam and Gideon for taking the time to talk to us. Gideon, this one's for you. This isn't your first foray into a Star Wars character. You played Pac Relda in Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. You voiced that character as well.
Is this true?
I did. Did I? I might have. Did I? I remember doing that. Oh my goodness. It must have been a very tiny little one line.
It was.
Thing.
I think your character really, really liked Galaxy's Edge, if I remember rightly. So, yeah.
I feel such a sense of betrayal here, guys. I thought that
No, Sam, you shouldn't.
It was a small.
As confused as you are, but I will say this really is this is my hello to the Star Wars.
Okay, because I was going to ask how that compared, and obviously that's very much a young preschool show, whereas this is grown up.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but I don't remember doing that.
It's okay.
I don't remember it. I don't remember that.
Well, I'm going to remember it when I'm seeing it. I can't wait to see it. I want to see you in a young Jedi adventure. That sounds amazing.
This is my introduction to Star Wars, truly. This whole situation.
I didn't mean to get you into trouble.
No, I don't think you are. I think this is really funny, actually.
I'm teasing.
Gosh. Oh gosh.
No, but that's the thing. I hope that Gideon has a long road with Star Wars, playing all kinds of different characters, because her talent we would do well to use her as often as we can, because she's so talented and committed.
Hi, this is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
Next up, it's William Devereaux from Ion Canon.
Thanks. This is William Devereaux with Ion Canon podcast. My question is for Sam. Sam, Maul's return in the Clone Wars back in 2012, hard to believe it was that long ago, was a seismic moment for the character and for Star Wars storytelling. And now 14 years later, he's finally the lead of his own series. What does that mean for you to see Maul step into the spotlight as the central protagonist? And how has that also shaped your performance and how you approach this?
It's trickier than it seems. If it seems inevitable, if it seems breezy, that's because Brad is a very talented filmmaker. But figuring out how to play him in this show was not a straightforward process. Because Star Wars is such a moral mythology. It's about selfishness versus selflessness. And so to put one of the more selfish characters in a protagonist situation, it kind of blurs the lines between protagonist and antagonist, It's a situation in which we must now understand why he does everything he does. We do not necessarily need to agree with him, though. That's the key. Hopefully, if I'm doing my job right, people are absorbing from these performances that he's not the happiest guy, and that this is not the best path to being a happy, actualized person. Maul has a lot of problems and a lot of flaws, and one of his flaws is he seems to have the facts straight a lot. He seems to tell the truth a lot, but his interpretation of those facts, I think, can be questioned. He doesn't ask himself where his own suffering is actually his responsibility. He loves to point the finger at others. And the problem with him is that, in fact, he's right to an extent. Now, for example, when it comes to Darth Sidious, Darth Sidious is the initial source of his suffering, but there comes a point where everyone has to take responsibility for themselves and their own actions, and can no longer blame other people for them reacting or acting in a way that is not very cool, in a way that's negative, a way that's hurtful. So that's a step that Maul has a hard time taking. Or making the step. Do people take steps or make steps? I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's interesting. He's really trying to be different. He really is. But his father figure, the man who raised him, is Darth Sidious. So how much success is Maul going to have? Wait and see.
And finally, it's myself, Mark from Fantha Tracks.
Hi guys, Mark from Fantha Tracks here. Question for Gideon. Dave Filoni casts are notoriously known for being a great commune, a great group of people, very much working together. How have you found the cast on this show?
Fantastic. I mean, we have Dennis Haysbert, we have Wagner Moira, Charlie Bushnell, we have incredible people, and I've been so lucky and I felt so coddled. You can just, as an actor, joining this group of artists, you can just feel how much time they took to cast this show and the work that they put in to find these artists to portray these characters in this new zone of the galaxy. I don't know how to put it properly. Zone of the galaxy, Sam?
Zone of the Galaxy. I like it. I'm going to back you up on that.
You can just feel it. How Dave is particular in welcoming people into this world, and actually, now that you say it, like, yeah, it's just every day it becomes more and more of an honor, truly, that I get to be a part of it as well.
Before everyone goes, one of the things I want to state is a lot of people ask the question, what do you have to watch before you enjoy this show? What do I need to see? What do I need to catch up on before I can watch Maul Shadow Lord? The answer, nothing. Nothing at all. This show's got you. If you have never seen Star Wars before, you will understand what's happening in this show. If you have no idea who Darth Maul is, don't worry. We got you. You'll learn all about him through the show. And there's all these other wonderful characters that will engage you and surprise you. The top of that list being Devon. It's a wonderful, wonderful show, and you do not need to do any homework to enjoy it.
Thank you. All right, congratulations.
So much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Email radio@fanthatracks.com. Head to links.fanthatracks.com for links to our social media feeds, Fantha Tracks TV and Fantha Tracks Radio. Thanks to James Semple for the Fantha Tracks intro, Blues Harvest for our Making Tracks opening music, and Mark Daniel and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 o'clock UK time. Our weekly news show, Good Morning Tatooine, goes live Sundays at 9 o'clock UK time on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, Fantha Tracks is absolutely free, so it costs nothing to stay updated on all the latest Star Wars news.